Hi, this is James Maroney from First Choice College Placement, and in this week's test prep tip of the week, we're going to go over modifiers, and specifically misplaced modifiers. So the tip we're going to give you today is that when a sentence starts with an ed or an ing word, the whatever follows the end of that phrase, whatever follows that comma, has to be what's doing this action over here. So let's read the sentence. And this is an example. It's a sentence improvement. We know that A is the sentence is fine the way it's written. And so we're trying to find a way to say this better. So first thing we're doing is we're reading it, anticipating an error, then we'll correct that. And then we know as we run through the process of elimination, B, does that make it better? C, does that make it better? D, E. None of them make it better. It's A. It's fine the way it's written. The other thing is if we have it down to 2, we know we always go with the shorter one, right? On the SAT, the most concise way of saying something is the best way. So let's read through this. Determined to locate the famous statue, comma, the museum's confusing map was scrutinized by Howard and Christine. Okay, well, who was determined to locate the famous statue? It wasn't the museum's confusing map, it was Howard and Christine. So they need to be what's following the comma. So let's go down, and Howard and Christine. So this one is okay. Howard and Christine well, let's read the whole sentence. So determined to locate the famous statue, comma, Howard and Christine scrutinized the museum's confusing map. Okay, that works. Howard and Christine are who are determined to locate the famous statue. They're following the comma. So this is a possibility. We won't cross it out. Determined to locate the famous statue, comma, Howard and Christine were confused and the museum's map was scrutinized by them. If possible, we want to use the active voice because it makes things shorter. So instead of saying the museum's map was scrutinized by them, Howard and Christine scrutinized the museum's map is much better. So, and also, so we can cross this one out here. The other problem is it wasn't saying that they were confused. It was the confusing map and making sure that we're modifying. We wouldn't want to change that confusing map from up there. Determined to locate the famous statue, comma, the museum's map, no. Determined to locate the famous statue, comma, confused, comma, Howard, no, because again, what follows the comma, we don't want anything in between the phrase that's modifying and what it's modifying. So our answer here is B. So what are the tips? With the modifiers, when the sentence starts with an ing or an ed word, whatever follows the comma has to be what's being modified by that word. Thank you for listening to this week's test prep tip of the week. Remember, look to our website, www.firstchoicecollege.com, to find out about our classes, private tutoring, and also our online private tutoring. Thanks again for listening, and have a great day.